welcome to the show. I was chatting with Big J21 about the copyright music. Yeah, I'm not gonna I'm not monetizing this channel, and then later on, I might in the future, cut this part out. You can edit the music intro out and then have your channel up later. But I am gonna get. I've a new opening that I'm working on, or I'm going to work on. I had a friend of mine named Jeremy Whitman, who is a comedian that when I do the other version of my podcast, where I'm just doing the rant for 30 minutes on Instagram, and sometimes I do it here too, but he created this graphic that's really cool, almost like a lava lamp with Not My Rabbit Hole going around in it. And I'm going to find some sort of YouTube free music to play, unless I have a friend that wants to create some music for me. So that could happen. We'll see. But I'm going to have a different opening. And also notice I have a logo up in the right-hand corner. I created that a few days ago on, I think I did it on Canva. It's you can design stuff on it. And so I'm experimenting with my own little logo right there. So, hey, I'm getting professional. All right. Some of you here, Lee Guy. Hi, Lee Guy. Thank you for tuning in. I am experimenting with different times as well. I noticed I looked at my analytics on YouTube, and I realized that a lot of people who are my subscribers are looking at YouTube at this time. So anyway, we'll see how it works out. For some people, it's a little bit early if they're in the UK or other places. All right, so this show. First of all, I have to say that I was going to do a comedy routine or comedy bit in the halfway point of this broadcast, but my guest, the Swami from El Monte, and Cookie, the psychic dog, is the Swami from El Monte is sick, and so I'm doing it. Prayers going. I'm asking for prayers for the Swami from El Monte. He's got sore throat and stuff going on, so he won't make it today. But in the future, I'm wanting to add a little bit of entertainment or something will be fun in the shows. Okay, this show I'd like to do is about this documentary that came out recently, and the channel is Oki's Weird Stories, and the title of it is How I Infiltrated a Bizarre Conspiracy Cult. And it's totally about the Super Soldier program. And before I play it, I'm going to play certain parts of it. I'm going to put the video in the chat so you can watch the whole show. And I'm going to change my banner here. I started out with this. If you want to donate to me at any point, Tere Joyce Investigates. It's funny, I call it Tere Joyce Investigates. But it's not. It's actually not my rabbit hole. I'm going to change the banner. Okay, this is fair use, right? So we are educating the public and critiquing the video we are sharing. This is covered under fair use and allowable by law. All right, so we're just going to I'm going to just give you some highlights and just kind of recap about what I think is about his documentary. I really enjoyed it, and I subscribed to his channel. He does all kinds of different types of documentaries, but this time he covered the Super Soldier program. And he talks about how he got into it, how he started watching these people, about the different Super Soldier people. And that's kind of like what happened to me. I maybe that happened to you too, is that I had discovered an interview by Carrie Cassidy of James Casbolt and Max Spears. And then there was this other woman named, first it was Ellen Green. And then she was a Rothschild, and then she was talking about how she was regressed back and all this kind of stuff, and that she was in the program and everything. let me get back into the comment section here. So it was kind of like, I didn't tell my friends that I was, watching the super soldier stuff, because if I did, they'd go, oh, that's completely nutty. But I had this kind of secret, like I couldn't get enough. Like I was like, where's the next person? Where's the next thing? And as time went on, I did join as a host on Revolution Radio, and I did interview some of these guys that they're talking about. For example, you're going to see Randy Kramer. I did interview Randy Kramer way back when. I would say maybe it was like 2015. And I remember, I'm going to see if I have that footage still in places. I've saved, when I lost my other channel, I saved a lot of my content. So I got to go back and see exactly what I do have, or what stuff I have on what computer. But he smoked a vape pen during my interview, and I thought, and not tobacco, a cannabis vape pen, and I found that to be kind of interesting, mainly probably because at that time my channel was very much focused on cannabis awareness. So he did choose to smoke a vape pen. Maybe he was just trying to be relatable to me. I did have a few conversations with him on the phone, so that's my Randy Kramer story. I've interviewed Duncan O'Finian before a few times, and I've also interviewed Max. By the way, ironically, before I started this show, I actually had a dream about James Casbolt. And I know that sounds weird. I don't know what he was doing with my dream, but I don't mean to make Lauren jealous or anything like that, but he was kind of hot. So anyway, Prag Magic. Hey, it's epic, isn't it? The Okie story was epic and hilarious. It was. All right, so let's get to it. Let's take a look at a little bit of it. And again, I'm going to put this in the chat and then make sure. Well, I have it in the description here. So let me. It was epic. It really was. It's well done. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to let it start, and so you can get the beginning part of it. And notice that Benjamin Fulford is right in the beginning.
My fellow humans, I am Benjamin Fulford, spokesperson for the White Dragon Society. With me here is Chodoin Daikaku. He's the head of the world's martial arts societies, and if necessary, and in an emergency, he can summon up an army of 200 million people worldwide.
By the way, what has happened to Benjamin Fulford? I don't know. I haven't seen him anywhere. Have you guys?
Here on my right is Alexander Romanov, who is a grandmaster of an Illuminati group that claims to have started the French, Russian, and American revolutions. As you may know, there has been a battle going on over the future of this planet.
Back in May of 2021, I was exposed to a bizarre conspiracy community that makes flat earthers look reasonable by comparison. Unlike a lot of conspiracy theories, which tend to have a small degree of truth, which is often extrapolated into outright fiction, this conspiracy theory is based on nothing but pure fantasy. Imagine if someone told you they lived out the plot of the movie Total Recall, that they thought they were living a regular life until one day they recovered memories of being a secret agent fighting an evil organization on Mars. Now, what if they also said that they were a space marine who fought insectoid and reptilian extraterrestrials on different planets? And finally, what if they capped it all off by claiming to be G.I. Joe? If you ever encounter someone like this, it's possible that they believe that they are part of the secret space program. The secret space program is a conspiracy theory which has grown in popularity within the past decade. There are YouTube channels, social media groups, and entire conferences dedicated to a shared belief that humanity has already traveled to the far reaches of space, and that a shadowy world government has been hiding this truth from the masses. A lot of the people who buy into this theory also believe that they were abducted and forced to serve in the secret space program against their will. This isn't a LARP, or an ARG, or a giant sci-fi influenced role-playing game. No. These people genuinely believe this stuff, and their community is getting bigger by the day. I wouldn't be surprised if in a few years, this overtakes Flat Earth as the most ridiculed conspiracy theory by the general population. And that's because it's
That's really scary.
way crazier. I was put onto this by a friend of mine who goes by the handle Vapes for Christ. Here's us talking about it on a Discord call.
Speaking of vaping.
So, I was listening to this podcast called The Unexplained of Howard Hughes. It's basically like the UK's equivalent to Coast to Coast. It's on the radio as well. And they just had this one guy in there I saw. His name was Captain Randy Kramer. He was saying stuff like he was actually a genetically enhanced super soldier made in a lab in the late 1960s.
He's not really the best looking guy. And I don't mean that. I guess it maybe sounds kind of insulting, but I guess it does. So I kind of find that interesting that he's kind of an odd looking guy, really, in a way. And yet he's, I don't know, almost has this rock star status.
For a secret space program where he'd be battling aliens on Mars for the Mars Defense Force. And the more I looked into this, he's not alone. There's a whole community of people that claim they've also been part of this program.
Randy lived on the planet Mars for 17 years, where he said there were approximately 6 to 7 million people living, including various ET races.
So I was genetically engineered from the ground up, tinkered with some extraterrestrial hybridized DNA to, be smarter, faster, stronger for soldiering abilities. Where I spent a little over 17 years in the MDF, which is the Mars Defense Force. I was in the infantry there on the ground, mostly scuffling with indigenous reptoids and indigenous insectoids territorially, mostly really to test military equipment.
There are a lot of interesting characters in the SSP/Super Soldier world, such as Joyce.
Notice Captain Mark Richards here. And by the way, I want to give you guys an update about Captain Mark Richards and his relationship to Carrie Cassidy. Apparently, they have had a falling out, Carrie Cassidy and Captain Mark Richards, over the fact that Captain Mark Richards does not support Donald Trump, and he does not believe that JFK Jr. is still alive. Now that's what's coming off of the Carrie Cassidy camp. Also, his wife Joanne, that married him while he was in prison, she has now divorced him, and I believe that the house is going to be for sale soon that she was living in. Oh my God. And her story, maybe some of you guys know this, but his wife was the caregiver for his mother. All right. And then when the mother passed away, or maybe she might have still been alive, she ends up marrying him. Right. And then, obviously she saw dollar signs in her eyes. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's the update that Carrie Cassidy and Captain Mark Richards are no longer together because he is not a Trump supporter. And to tell you guys the truth, I don't believe it. I don't buy Carrie Cassidy's story that he's gonna, that it's because she's supporting Trump. And what gets me about all these guys, including James Rink, that they've all gone booing on. Okay, they all went conservative. They all went booing on, and I'm thinking probably the main reason that might be is because it was the algorithms of it, right? And but that this community has been very much part of the genesis of booing on and booing on believers.
Dwight Eisenhower's great-granddaughter, Laura Magdalene Eisenhower, James Casbolt, a self-proclaimed former MI6 agent who's now in prison for trying to blackmail 2 million euros out of his supercenter heiress ex-wife, Haley Major, and Mark Richards.
Haley Meyer, he didn't pronounce it right, but that's okay.
He's also in prison, not for blackmail this time, but instead for robbery and murder in the mid-1980s. He was also bizarrely plotting a paramilitary takeover of his county in order to turn it into King Arthur's court with himself as a king. Yeah, that's a thing. Within
Yeah,
the community,
I know somebody else who also wants to be king, and we're going to get to that later on in the show.
these people are known as whistleblowers. Individuals who risk their lives to disclose sensitive information about their time in the secret space program. Initially, I was struck by how these so-called whistleblowers spoke with such earnestness
Rick,
while
who's up
claiming
there?
to have lived
Did you
out
see David
grand
Wilcox?
stories akin to Z-grade science fiction. And more strikingly was how many people seemed to believe them.
There's a secret space program.
Okay, so I'm
which
gonna,
is funded.
I'm gonna go a little bit farther here and skip through here. And then he's gonna get to, like, he gets to James Rink, who that's who he really keys into, is James Rink. Okay.
And what really intrigued me about it was it just kept getting crazier and crazier. And that's how I found my new favorite YouTube channel, Super Soldier Talk, which is run by a guy named James Rink. He's been doing it for 13 years, and he's been a hardcore believer of it for even longer than that.
Okay, and let me give you an update on James Rink too, because I've been covering even more Brock Brader, right, on Miles Johnston's show, talking about, like, trying to pump up her husband, who is an FBI fugitive for molesting a 10-year-old and was featured on In Pursuit by John Walsh. Anyways, her whole spiel with Miles Johnston is that Sarah Rachel Adams and James Rink are working together against Miles and her husband. Okay, all right, let's keep going.
I found myself really drawn to James, especially his demeanor. I don't need to ridicule the guy, but I genuinely just find him amusing.
So I am a super soldier. I've been involved in the secret space program for at least 330 years. I say that with a lot of hesitation because some of these projects, they have time compression zones where you're outside of time and the time is going by a little bit slower than the rest of reality. They use re-aging tech, different.
Okay, I want to also bring something up about James Rink. The first time I saw him, he was, like, selling this little cube to people to heal them. I think I see a shot of the cube in this particular video. I really haven't spent a whole lot of time watching James Rink, although his name has been coming up a lot more lately. So I'll keep going.
Cloning bodies. There's different techniques on how they can re-age us and reuse us. I spent at least 75 years on Mars.
Anyway, James runs the most popular YouTube channel in the community. It consists of interviews he conducts with secret space programs.
It's interesting that he finds James Rink to have the most popular YouTube channel about super soldiers, because he's completely bypassed Carrie Cassidy and Miles Johnston.
Experiencers from around the world. The guests on James' show all claim to be victims
Okay,
of the
I'm going to skip through this part, and then I want to go to where he explains the theory and the different LARPing of what it's all about. Okay, so here's the plan, the made-up story. What this guy does is that he studies the culture of the super soldier program, and with all the different stories, he takes it, he maps it all out of how it all evolves and how it all matches, and then he creates his own story, goes to James Rink, asks for James Rink charges $200 for, like, a hypnosis and this and that to bring your memories up, and then I guess it's like some sort of, like, counseling or whatever, and apparently he's booked in advance, because this guy makes his appointment, and James Rink cannot talk to him for he makes the booking a month out from I'm saying a month ahead from when he, you know what I'm saying. Okay, here we go.
And get onto James' show and share it with his community. And that's how I finally found an angle that compelled me enough to make a video about this topic. And the angle was to become a secret space program whistleblower myself.
Let's rock.
So if my goal still sounds too vague to you, I set up a criteria for how I was going to accomplish it. A set of rules, if you will. 1. Make up a compelling story about my time in the secret space program, which has to follow the established lore of the conspiracy. 2. Get onto a major platform within the community as a whistleblower and share my experience. I developed this criteria after thinking what's required to become an SSP whistleblower. Obviously, evidence of being in the secret space program isn't necessary at all. All that's needed is a story which follows the lore, and, after that, I just have to appear on a major platform and share it. I decided that I would aim to appear on James's channel. Like I said, it's the most popular.
Hey, Vates for Christ is here. Hi. Welcome. Glad you showed up. All right, here we go.
YouTube channel in the community, and it's even had the illustrious Captain Randy Kramer on it twice. Unlike Captain Randy Kramer or Corey Good, I was unlikely to get my own show on Gaia.com, so I settled for a more manageable but still difficult task. To increase the difficulty, I chose not to use my own YouTube channel as a way to influence my way onto the show. Therefore, I needed to find a way to ingratiate myself with James, and hope that he decided to invite me on as a guest himself. Before I did that, I needed to create a compelling story. In order to craft my narrative, I began to study the plethora of interviews available on Jay's channel, as well as the SSP lore extensively.
Okay, open up your textbooks. It's time for me to start explaining the lore behind the secret space program. Now, I'm going to try and do this as fast as possible. Okay, so it started right before World War II when the Nazis were interested in mysticism.
Before World War II, the Nazis, who were interested in mysticism and alternative views...
And I find that interesting because it goes right into the Nazis, right? And the Uberman theory. So this is the beginning of it. And the mysticism aspect.
The planet for fantastical powers. They found Maria Orsek, a medium and leader of the Vril Society, who channeled Nordic and Draco reptilians who are...
How many times does Miles Johnston, drop the Vril Society?
Offered the Nazis the semantics behind anti-gravity technology in UFOs. The Draco reptilians told the Nazis about ancient alien technology hidden in Antarctica, and in 1938...
And here we go with the Antarctica again. I know I'm interrupting, but I'm just bullet pointing because you guys know what I'm talking about. Wasn't Miles Johnston's most recent video where he's the whole problem that we have right now in human history, it goes all the way back to the Antarctic. So... I mean, there might be something up with the Antarctic because we have, what was it? I don't know. We've had certain people in major politicians going there, and anyway.
The Nazis traveled there. With this newfound tech, the Nazis created the Die Glocke, aka the bell, which was capable of space.
I mean, it's not Schwabenland, right? Isn't that the entrance to Schwabenland in the inner Earth?
Time travel. In 1942, the Nazis were already in space. There they built a base on the dark side of the moon. And by 1950, the Nazis were on Mars. Despite having access to this advanced alien tech, the Germans still lost World War II because apparently the Germans who possessed the technology did not agree with Hitler's regime, so there was a split.
The new Schwabenlanders didn't want to support Hitler at the end of the war because they considered him insane and the final solution. So there was already a split.
In SSP lore, the Nazis capable of space and time travel became the Fourth Reich, and they pissed off to Antarctica in space while refusing to provide any support to the Third Reich Nazis during the war. Anyway, the evil globalists, i.e. the Cabal and the Illuminati or something, engaged in a Cold War against the Space Germans. Meanwhile, the Space Germans were also fighting the Draco reptilians and various alien life forms in space. The Antarctic/Space Germans would be responsible for abducting people to serve in joint black projects between themselves, the Cabal, aliens, and pretty much anybody with any power at all. This was the beginning of the secret space program. By the 1960s, the Space Germans created Notwaffen, aka Dark Fleet, and began an aggressive expansion out into the solar system, setting up bases on moons around Saturn, the Kuiper belts, and etc. Capable of time travel, the Space Germans also traveled back in time to settle on planets around the galaxy.
Now there's 3 billion people.
All right, so that's kind of the background. You guys know it. I'm gonna skip to where he goes in and has the interview show you a little bit of the interview with James Rink, and then I want to get to the event they go to, and the event that they go to is a David Farman event, and I've been to one before, and I want to show you also who else is on that lineup. Okay, but I'm gonna show you just a little bit of this here
from James that I was waiting for. Our session lasted for 2 hours and 14 minutes. The results of the session exceeded my expectations.
I would be curious. What is your genetic background? Like, what ET groups are you connected with?
Draco reptilian humanoid hybrid, and then I think I also got like Anunnaki in me.
Do you know who you might have been in a past life?
Have you heard like the Black Samurai Yasuke?
You were a samurai?
Yeah. Dude, I'll show you something. Check this out.
That's pretty dope. And I was a gladiator.
Right.
Oh no, that's awesome.
The goal here, I want us to take us into hyperspace.
Let's
put a golden shield of light around.
Closes his eyes and stuff. Okay, that's part that gets me.
Us. So at this point, we call upon Oki's higher self to overwrite any kind of AI. Begin to relax your forehead and your cheeks, and you can breathe just fine in and out.
$200 for this, guys. $200. How many people are giving him $200 to do this? Like, what does he make per month? Is what I'm wondering.
As the relaxation goes down into your legs,
my God, what an easy way to make money, right?
Fly through the clouds, the puffy clouds. You jump around a little bit. Your higher self already knows where to go, so go ahead. When you're ready, step on through the door, and without putting any kind of conscious thought into it, just imagine what do you think would be behind that door. So let's start with that, and tell me what you see.
I see Kevin Spacey, or his clone.
Okay, and this is the part that gets me about the Kevin Spacey thing. I think Kevin Spacey overall is like a bullet point for some people that Kevin Spacey's clone trained them. And, the only way that I think this comes into the picture is because of the Men Who Stare at Goats. This is my theory. Kevin Spacey stars in that, which if you're going to go with anything about people using psychic energy and things like this in any type of military, that is the most legitimate aspect of when they really did that in the military. Like the Men Who Stare at Goats is based on a true story, and Kevin Spacey's character is based on somebody who was a psychic. Okay, and then his character in the Men Who Stare at Goats does MK Ultra. Mind control with LSD on another soldier who loses it. All right, so I just find it interesting that now Kevin Spacey is Mr. Lolita flight airplane dude, hanging out with Ghislaine Maxwell, is now part of this theory.
Paul Serene, he was on the governing council of the ICC. So his clone is Kevin Spacey.
We're in a gymnasium. It's me. At least 100 other. I think they're recruits.
Do you see anyone else?
I'm going to stop it here because I'm just giving you guys highlights, right? I don't want to, play his whole entire thing, but I'm just giving you the highlights of it. So he goes through this, hypnosis, and then James Rink asks him if he wants to speak at the cosmic consciousness event in Las Vegas. It's at the Golden Nugget, and he will give him like 45 minutes. Now notice there's no like, hey, we're going to put up you in a hotel room, or here's your meal per diem or anything like that. It's like you get your way out there, you get your hotel room, you go and say you go and do your thing. Now I'm going to stop this share for a moment, and I want to go to I did MK Ultra experience on myself in college. Adam, oh, did you? Okay. Faith for Christ. Kevin Spacey is in it because Peter the Insider played Call of Duty Advanced Warfare was in it. Okay. I've heard about Peter the Insider before. And told James Rink. Okay. Wow. Okay, so I want to show you the event that they went to, and I want you to look at the lineup because we're going to get a little bit into that for a minute too. Okay, here it is. 5D events present cosmic consciousness and disclosure. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to a David Furman event. I have. He had one in Los Angeles. This is when I was in Truth Cat Radio with Stephen D. Kelly. And by the way, Stephen was supposed to be on that lineup. Stephen, now in the documentary, you're going to see where he really wanted to go to the Jedi Warrior conference, and nobody showed up and nobody was there. And I know that was Stephen. Stephen was supposed to be there at that event doing the what is Stephen? Stephen's like taking over the Jedi Warrior. We're gonna, fight the bad guys in the astral plane by our psychic consciousness. No, Stephen does this. Stephen does this. He does this all. I know. I know because I used to produce this show back on Revolution Radio, and I know all about the Jedi Warrior shit. Okay, I'm sorry I'm saying the word shit, but that's what it is. All right, so yeah, they're gonna with Stephen. They're gonna fight the children underneath the Getty Museum. That by his Jedi Warrior, and he was going to speak there. But we're going to get more into Stephen a little bit later. But and then you're going to, like, most of the time when you go to these events, see, look, Saint Germain. All right, keynote speakers in person at the event is Dr. Sandra Rose Michael, Daniel Brinkley, Dr. Robert O. Young, Bill Walsh, Maureen Saint Germain. Oh, we got a Maureen Saint Germain, and Stephen D. Kelly. Other speakers in person at the event is Azucena, Brad Olson, James Rink. There is Tony Rodriguez. And then you see the names here. Usually, Alfred Levermont Weber and Michael Horn. Usually it's kind of like the B list. I hate to be bitchy about it, but it's kind of like the B list of people that speak at these events. All right. So, okay. And no one's there. I think how he makes his money is that people pay for it online, and it's quite expensive, by the way. I'm not going to show that right now. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back to the documentary here. Peter the Insider plays computer games, then says they are based on real SSP events. They do that with movies too. There's a lot of people that like there's by the way, Vapes for Christ, there's a woman named Penny Marshall, not Penny Marshall, Penny Shepherd. Yeah, there was a woman named Penny Marshall, but she's not involved in this. Penny Shepherd, that tells everybody that she's 11 in Stranger Things, which, by the way, that script originally was called Montauk, so it is based on that. Or if you want to believe that it's true or not, or it's based on a conspiracy or whatever. But I think Montauk might be real. Nunya B, Alfred Weber and Tim Riffett crack me up. Well, I've listened to a lot of Alfred Weber too. I don't know who this Hosea Boki is, but I think that's spam, so I'm going to block that user right there. Okay. All right, so let's continue. Let's continue. Okay, here we go.
There that you recognize?
I think I see the YouTuber Mr. Beast.
Today, we will be planting 20 million trees.
Okay, so they're probably programming him. So he's the guy that doesn't he give away a bunch of free stuff on the videos?
Yeah.
They must have looked into his future, and okay, so whatever trajectory, whatever plans they had for him was all programming stuff.
Anyway, the session was a success. Such a success that I got what I wanted.
The person's video, there's a question, Pragmatic. It's Oki's Weird Stories is the YouTube channel. And look, I'm going to put the video in the chat here. And if you want to subscribe to his channel, I did. I subscribed to it. Here, let me put this in the description. He does, I mean, like, again, he does all kinds of different documentaries and stuff. So he just happened to go into this particular subject. But and then also in the description, I have his I have him there. Hey, Stephen Cambion, Randy Kramer describes guns used in the video game Halo when asked about what weapons he used to fight aliens on Mars. Yeah, they're all taking information from that, right? From games and from movies, because why be original, right?
James invited me onto his show. Then he mentioned that it would be a little while before he could have me on his show because he was going to attend a secret space program conference taking place in early November.
Okay, so he invites him to the Congress, the conference, and then wait, let me go on here. All right, let's go to here. So he gets to the conference, right? And let's start about right here.
Oh yeah.
I guess we're gonna go learn how to become stronger through genetics.
And experience.
Look how there's nobody there.
I've been there several times. I spoke with the commander, the Arcturian commander, who I am connected
Is this Maureen Saint Germain? I don't know.
to.
Jeez. That's Stephen Furman right there.
They flew us to a separate base. We left this base and we went to a separate one on the moon, and it was U.S. military personnel. And the next morning, they gave us a set of clothes to wear.
Rodriguez. I don't know if you guys are really familiar with him. I've watched a few of his interviews before. I'm friends with him on Facebook. But yeah, he's a UFO experiencer. I wouldn't say that he goes he's not a super soldier though.
On a larger craft and flew us to Mars. Flew out, we got away from the moon and immediately jumped to Mars.
Yes, I was talking about this concert, this Travis Scott concert.
This guy is always at these events. When I was at the event in Los Angeles, he was there.
Where 800 people were injected with these drone mosquitoes. You see that, wow, they can go around and inject people.
Oh, good Lord. But notice the shamanism. Notice the spirituality that goes along with this.
The conference was a pretty fun but disorganized event. The two workshops we were really looking forward to attending were How to Become a Jedi Warrior and Quantum Spoon Bending, Bring Your Own Spoon.
How to Become a Jedi Warrior. Stephen D. Kelly is a no-show. Oh, what, Stephen? You didn't have a bottom bitch to buy your hotel room for you? Is that what it is? Okay.
Tomorrow's gonna be a fun day because tomorrow we get to go to How to Become a Jedi Warrior.
I'm excited about that one.
That's gonna be amazing.
Unfortunately, when we showed up to the How to Become a Jedi Warrior workshop, no one was there,
right.
Not even the speaker.
That's
so
right.
It was canceled.
We just got in here. We have no idea where anybody is. I think you're right. I think the guy just gave up.
Yeah, the next.
So the best part tomorrow is we are going to go to Quantum Spoon Bending, parentheses, Bring Your Own Spoons, close parentheses.
And the quantum spoon bending lesson was underwhelming since instead of learning how to bend a spoon with our minds, we were instructed to physically do it with both hands.
So basically, she tells people to bend the spoon on their own. So if you guys want to watch that part. All right. Now this is the part where he ends up going in for an interview with James Rink, and this particular interview was on his website. on Super Soldier website for a while, and I'm not gonna spoil it for you, and neither the comments that happened. So I'm let you watch that part. But it was taken down after this particular documentary was uploaded, and you can watch the full interview on his Patreon, which you can find on his channel. It's actually after this video too.
I knocked. The time had finally come.
Wow. Here we go.
James had his camera equipment set up in the corner of the hotel room. He instructed me to take a seat in front of his camera and microphone. I asked him if it was okay if Night Docs filmed the interview, and he said it was fine. After a brief preliminary discussion, James started recording and we were underway. By then, any nervous anticipation I felt leading up to this face-to-face sit-down had completely dissipated. I was calm, knowing that I was more than prepared to speak about my time in the secret space program in a convincing manner. The interview lasted 1 hour, and here's what happened.
Okay, so my name is Oki. So it started from before I was even born, where they genetically enhanced my DNA. And by the time I was 6, I was put into a special program run by Monarch. I was under direct tutelage of Pulse Ring, Kevin Spacey's clone. There was 12 children who were trained directly under him, including myself and
He's really good, isn't he?
YouTuber Mr. Beast.
So, can you comment about what you, or maybe Mr. Beast, or maybe the people
Like he's
in your
actually taking notes.
group were all being groomed for?
We were pretty much put in a top elite special program. They pretty much utilized every method they could to use MK Ultra programming and to create killing machines. And I was able to just look at a photo of a target and make their head explode. Because I mean, there was billions of dollars spent on each and every single one of us. I particularly liked my psionic katana. I liked my my 2 daggers. I had a form of EMP that I could take out their technologies. In my past life, I was Yasuke.
Thanks for Christ. The Super Soldier events that are in the UK most likely are done by Miles Johnston. That's from the Basis Project. So yeah, although with the arrest of James Casbolt, because I don't know if you I don't know if you guys know this, but James Casbolt, I think you do, James Casbolt, because it said in the beginning of the documentary. Yeah, so like I don't know, Miles kind of lost his big Super Soldier stars. This guy's my new favorite person. Yeah, I don't know. Thanks for Christ. Do you know him? I would love to interview him. What's his real name? I don't know. From the Oki's channel. I would love to interview him. That would be fun. Yeah, it's great. Okay, here we go.
The Black Samurai.
Did any of your clones ever get changed into a zombie?
I had a clone. That clone actually was fighting zombies and vampires, and there was also Yetis that they were fighting.
What about vampires? Do you recall any scenarios fighting vampires?
But this particular thing, this is something I learned about vampires actually, is that they can't help but count. From what I remember, most closely is that I do have many different clones of myself with parts of my consciousness uploaded into those clones. I was taken, I was cloned, and my clones with my consciousness inside of them were used pretty much as like kamikaze pilots.
Typically, at least what I heard, Black people require a different protocol of brainwashing.
That part just really gets me, that that he says that, it's like, I don't know, it just seems kind of like, why is that I mean, this isn't a real thing, right? I mean, does James Rink really believe this? Does James Rink really believe that he is a super soldier, or is it just a big scam? And why would he? I mean, to me, that's kind of a racist comment, really. That's what I find, and I love his reaction to what he says. I love his picture too. But James Rink almost has that look like, I'm lying, I'm a phony, I'm gonna, take a picture with my fake super soldier thing. Oh.
Time flew by, and I was struck by the effortlessness of retelling the story which I crafted. I spoke for 1 hour with ease and told my story so coherently that I realized that if I was to continue to pursue a career as an influencer in the SSP community, I'd be able to become a prominent whistleblower. I could do workshops, sell books, charge for hypnosis sessions, be invited onto shows, and attend conferences as a speaker, just like the top members of the community. I would be able to mold a career out of it, which likely could be far more profitable than spending months making YouTube documentaries and releasing them only a few times a year. When I first became interested in the community and its major players, I wondered how these people could regurgitate their own bullshit with such ease, as if their lies didn't affect them at all. Were they deluded, or were they capitalizing on feeding lies to a fantasy-prone audience? And when I was being interviewed by James, I finally understood it. What you believe becomes your own reality, no matter how ridiculous it is. Spewing the nonsense story I crafted was like an out-of-body experience. I was playing a role, and even though I created the role, while I was performing it, it was like a switch in my brain went off and everything I said felt real. For that moment, I managed to delude myself and speak matter-of-factly about being trained by Kevin Spacey's clone along with Mr. Beast. I never broke character. I never felt like laughing or winking at the camera. I spoke stone-faced with deadly seriousness the whole time. It was so easy to detach myself from the situation and make it feel real. Overall, this whole journey has been a fascinating experience. I now feel as though many of the questions I had about charlatans, grifters, con men, and even cult leaders, it's starting to make more sense. By stepping into their shoes, I feel like I gained insight into how they operate and what makes them tick. Like I said, if I wanted to, I could have continued to masquerade as a secret space program whistleblower and turn my lies into something truly profitable. Of course, I have no interest in doing so.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop it there. I mean, again, he's going to recap about stuff, but I wanted to bring that to our attention that this documentary has been made, and I really love it, and he's kind of exposing the super soldier phenomenon that has happened on alternative media on YouTube, and it's serious. I mean, think about it. You have Carrie Cassidy, who doesn't have a channel here anymore, but she's, I guess, someplace else like Rumble or something like that. You've got big time Miles Johnston. I always thought, compared to those guys, James Rink was a little bit of a smaller player, but apparently his channel has just really exploded. You got Corey Good going on Gaia TV, connected to David Wilcock, who did Ancient Alien, which went to the mainstream media. And again, George Norrie, I believe George Norrie, right? He's interviewed Randy Kramer. It's like, where do these people, I guess it really doesn't matter if you're just saying, hey, I'm interviewing these people for entertainment purposes. But what gets me about it is there's such a community that is just diehard over these guys. And if you question them, if you question their authenticity, basically they come and harass you online and do all kinds of other things that they shouldn't be doing. I noticed that he didn't mention Sarah. Sarah Rachel Adams is in there. So, but that's a whole nother story. Is he the first black super soldier? I don't know. That's a good question. Why are they all white? Rink has been pretty committed for a lot of years. I think he believes the stuff he imagines. Well, that's the thing. I mean, like at the very end, when he says, I was easy for me to do. I was detached from what I'm saying, and like he believed it. Like it's almost like, do they begin to just believe their own lie? Is there a psychological type of person that gets gravitated into doing this? Are they narcissists? Are they delusional in some ways? And is there an element of truth in this? Because MK Ultra mind control does exist. All right, it is real, or you know, it right. I mean, you can look it up, MK Ultra, and when it was used and how it was used. I mean, Saran, or is that how I say it? Saran? You know, the person who shot Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Robert F. Kennedy. No, Robert F. Kennedy. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Somebody else. Robert F. Kennedy, right? Robert Kennedy. That's questionable. You know, why he did it. There is I think a more legitimate conspiracy around that. You know, there was a portion of the military that was like this, but all these other guys have just pretty much adopted fantasy. One more thing that I want to bring up is I want to go into Stephen D. Kelly and the whole Jedi thing for a moment. And, you know, I did share you the 5D event that he was on it. I found a Facebook page because, see, Stephen, by the way, became one of the biggest BooAnon people. And with the Underneath the Getty conspiracy. And, you know, and that became the middle of the BooAnon map. He did a lot of interviews with BooAnon. And he also was even on mainstream shows being called the BooAnon guy. And he has there's a group on Facebook. I want to show it to you guys really quick. This is his Jedi Warrior Facebook page, and you know, you can see the types of posts that are going on here. But one thing I want you to focus on is this one. There's someone who is calling themselves JWHW Yeshua, and that is Stephen himself. And you know, like I said, I was involved with Stephen, by the way, you guys. And I finally came to my senses. And when I was involved with Stephen, he really believes that he is the second coming of Christ. Basically, he believes that he is, like, once they rescue the children underneath the Getty, he believes that he should be king, you know? But honestly, I think that he should stop wearing socks with his flip-flops and put the bong down. I don't see somebody ruling the world that smokes out of his bong, like, literally all day. Okay, Stephen? Right. All right. Just let me say that. I mean, not that I have anything against smoking out of a bong or using cannabis. Excuse me. I don't. But if you know, how functional are you if you're doing it like all day long? Like, you can smoke an eighth in like one day. No, I know. All right. So, Mr. I think I'm Jesus Christ. I'm the second coming. I'm Merovingian is using this as his profile pic, and it bothers me. And so, and I'm going to prove to you that it is him, because I know it's him. Because look, there he is advertising the conscious disclosure event for his Jedi Warriors that he did not show up for. All right. Oh, there we go. Truth Cat Radio. It's him. You know, Stephen thinks he's Jesus. All right. But, okay. If you want to go woo about this, I think that Stephen is more Edward Kelly, who was connected in the past, who was connected to John Dees. And I'm going to show you how much he actually looks like Edward Kelly in the past. Like, you know, David Wilcox says that he is, what's his name? Edgar Casey, right? And just a picture of how he looks like Edgar Casey. So let's just go woo for a second about Stephen D. Kelly. All right. And didn't that kind of look like him? Like, I'm sorry. I can't believe I was involved with him. All right. So, but you know what? I can even, and so if you want to get a better look at what Steven looks like, let's see if I can get a good picture of him. Let me just bring up a better picture here. Images. Where he looks more like that. Okay, I actually photographed this picture of him on the right. Can you? I don't know if you can see it. You can't see it yet. Let me. I gotta switch the graphic to what he really looks like, so you can get the full Monty here. Edward Kelly. Wait, Stephen D. Kelly. Okay, hold on. There he is. I took that picture. That's when I had a crush on him. All right. That's when I used to like that was like, you know, you see the love behind the photo. And that's when we were at the Getty. All right. We actually went to the Getty and we did footage. This was in 2014. Now this one, that looks like more like, you know, that's why he thinks he's Jesus, right? I mean, and then here's him younger. All right, let me expand. Can I expand this? Okay, see? He kind of does look like that picture of Jesus though, right? Oh, see, look. Continue. No, I don't want to go here. Okay. All right. Oh, this is on Pinecrest. Oh, no, you're not seeing that. You're not seeing that expanded. Hold on. Let me expand this for a second. Sorry, I'm probably boring you now. Wait. Anyway, you know, I know a lot of us have gotten caught up in it, right? There he is. Anyway, he was teaching some sort of class. These guys have been around. They're all shamans. They're all gurus. They can all take you. They can all help you. Maybe he got high and forgot to show up. Maybe. No, here's why he probably didn't show up. I'm just going to give you my analysis from knowing the situation. Stephen lives with another woman that he says he's not involved with. You know, which I think that there's something, I think there's a gray area in that. And so he has all these other women, which I was like probably one of many, maybe, I don't know. It's kind of scary to think about it. Where he's just not honest. He uses women in a way. He's like a male gigolo sort of. So the last event, I actually paid for the hotel room, to be honest with you, the one that he did in Los Angeles. So my thought is that he doesn't have a woman to pay for him to go there, or the woman that he was going to go there with that was going to pay for him decided not to go with him and maybe dumped him or whatever. But that's my thought, is that he didn't have somebody to front his hotel room and and he couldn't like get on a bus and go there, and or the woman that he lives with has him on a leash. All right. So that's my instinct on it, based on my own personal experience. So Cat Radio. Yeah, it's Truth Cat Radio. Yeah, that's, you know, and I remember when he came up with that title because there was a time where, you know, I'm just going to go to where Stephen got fired, how could you get fired from Revolution Radio? But he got let go from Revolution Radio because when we were doing a round table, and he was not pro the Bundy occupation up in Oregon, and so we were I think Mr. Bundy, the main Bundy, Dad Bundy, was taken under custody when his plane landed in the area, and they were all, having a big bust. And Revolution Radio, Nighthawk, Mike Ringley, who has passed away now but owned the station, was really pro Bundy. Even when they had their stuff happen in Vegas, when I first came on the network, it was all about the Bundys. Everybody was talking about the Bundys. They were actually taking donations on Revolution Radio to support what they were doing out there, the militia, everything that was happening down with the Bundy situation. And so Steven talked shit about it, and then Nighthawk fired him again, twice. Whatever. At that point, it might have been the time before that he got let go, but he got brought back. Got brought back to the network because the webmaster at Revolution Radio, Weisenberg, was arrested for making child CP. Okay. And that's in their backyard. So according to Steven, he was invited back because they were Nighthawk needed him for to smooth things over for the morale of the station or whatever. All right, but that's a whole nother topic to talk about, which I already have in many ways. So at that point, I was looking into starting a radio station possibly with them, and I had bought a domain, or I was thinking about starting my own radio network, and I bought a domain name for it. And then he went through these different types of ideas, and he got Truth Cat Radio right while I'm talking, because I'm going to buy it right now. And he got Truth Cat Radio, and for a while he had a pretty good lineup. He had maybe 10 different hosts on the network. And I wasn't on it for a long time because I sometimes I didn't get along with him. And then I came back and I was on the network for a while. And I don't know if my content is still up there on his channel. I wish it was gone because I feel like a lot of the things that I said at that time, I've grown past. So this stuff can get you. I mean, you can get caught up in some of these conspiracies, especially if you're kind of naive and you're kind of looking at things and you're assessing the world, right? And you're going, wait a second, some things don't add up. Are there UFOs? Is there extraterrestrial life? What's the truth here? And, a lot of these guys like James Caspel, like Max Spears, we didn't mention Max. Max never called himself a super soldier. Max always denied that. He says that's a term that, they've coined. He never identified really as a super soldier, but he is in that particular slant or category as well. So, and being that I was on Revolution Radio, and they were also perpetuating that. Let's mention Lorian Fenton. Shout out to Lorian Fenton, right? Lorian Fenton doing all the Super Soldier Summit stuff that happened, the whole Henderson, Nevada Super Soldier event that happened before I even got there. You got Michael Hemmingson, who was part of the Temple of Set, who had a channel, who died mysteriously. And then you have... he was an artist and a writer. And then you have the whole Michael Aquino connection to all of it that gets woven in. So I do like this guy's take on Oki's channel, and I will again. Okay, here we go. Lorian's fantasy that she was a past lover of Max. What? Really? Ew. That doesn't even, I don't even want to have that thought in my head. Yeah, and then, in the peripheral areas, you've got you've got Sarah, and then you have Christine Hart, who did a lot of interviewing of these guys and stuff. So, yeah, you're like, LOL. Yeah, no, Max and Lorian Fenton is not something that I want to think about. Not at all. Ew. Okay. IDK says, I can't stand how these people think that they are so special and superior. It's a scam. It's nice to see Vapes for Christ, because I know that he was part of that documentary, so that's cool. And then Pragmagic's here, Steven's here, Lee Guy, all you guys showing up. That's cool. Did Max Pierce think he was a super soldier? See, here's the question. Yeah, no, he didn't. He always used to like deny that he was a super soldier. Everybody got a piece of Max, apparently. You know what? Max was good. I mean, he was a good speaker, and he did a lot of. He was more like a researcher, like what they called him at the time of his death, and when they did the BBC documentary on him, they referred to him as a UFO researcher, which I would go more with that rather than that he was a super soldier. Max was a recreational substance pioneer. Well, he did have an addiction. We can't deny that. He admitted it. And I believe like right before he died, he was developing a website, and he was wanting to help people that were survivors, like MK Ultra survivors and this and that had drug problems and wanted to be of help for them. So yeah, he did have a problem. And by the way, James Rink filmed him under intoxication when they were in Henderson, Nevada, and popped that little video out before they did his shortly after his death. He showed it. And the problem that I had with Armenia, and still statistically his cause of death is really kind of still up in the air. Technically he died of pneumonia. That's true. If you look at the autopsy report, it is not conclusive that he OD'd per se. So there's still like a question mark on it. Although he did have drugs in his body. But I will say I will tell you this. This is what I think. If you are being targeted, or if you are being gang stalked or whatever, I just watched this video. Charles Unleashed showed me a video of the real Charles, who was interviewed by what's that guy from Project Avalon? Ryan, what's his name? Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Ryan, what was his last name? Bill Ryan. Okay, Bill Ryan did an interview of this guy named Charles, who basically, like Charles Unleashed goes, it's the assassin to the elite. But it wasn't really like an assassin, like boom, boom assassin, right? It was more like he was an assassin that sort of gang stalked people. Like they find people's weaknesses, like their drug addictions or their sex addictions, or, an Achilles heel, to go in and do whatever they're going to do to them, and which I think is very real. And again, I think that's real. I think that you can get on a list and they will do whatever they need to do, and they want to break you down that way because they hope that you will take your own self down by your own weaknesses. So the temptation is given to you. Oh, here's this. Do you want to do a line of coke? Do you want to do whatever? And so they would rather you ruin yourself because there's less karmic. First of all, there's less karmic backlash if the person does their own self in, right? And then also it looks clean, it's like, oh, well, they were that. So, he goes to Poland. He goes, they went and got the Turkish Xanax or whatever. He maybe he had a weak point or whatever. But once you've invited that, who knows what's being put in your food? If you're staying in somebody else's house, this is my own theory. It's my own question about it. If you're staying in somebody else's house and you don't have much money, which, you know, when you work, like, I mean, how did Tony Rodriguez get to that event? Like, where do these people make their money? How do they afford to do this? And then if they are making money out of, like, it is a career, they're going to the events. Yeah, you know, maybe they have an altruistic point of view, like, oh, I want to help people with my information or whatever. But, you know, if it's made up, how are they helping people really? But if they see it as a possibility of launching something else that will, you know, give them some sort of benefit, either it's financial or it's ego. You know, it's because, like, you're a rock star, you get chicks, whatever, you know. Thermal Mermaid. Right before he died, he drank some poison in Malta, and that made him really sick and wasn't okay. Then got to Poland. That's what he told me. He told me a text a few days before that Poland trip. Oh, that's interesting. Thermal Mermaid, do you still have those texts at all? Because that would be some pretty interesting evidence if they had done something. I mean, I'm just kind of curious about it, because, like, on the record, you know, they just said that he went to Cyprus, but I guess Malta is in Cyprus, right, or near there. All right, I could go. It's like 1:44. I guess I've been. This has been about an hour and 15 minute show. I think I'm going to cap it here. I mean, there's a couple things I was watching last night that I thought was kind of interesting, but that has nothing to do with this particular topic. Cyprus. Okay. Well, in criticism of what happened to him, you know, according to, like, listening to Christine Joanna Hart's show, right, where he didn't show up for his interview during that time frame. He complained of having a headache. He was complaining of not feeling well. He did send something to his mother before he died and said, you know, if I die unexpectedly, make sure you research it because there's something going on. And that last taping of him while he was dying, I say while he was dying because he didn't sound well, but that last interview that he did and the way he sounded, there's no way they should have continued production. There's no way he should have been kept, you know, they should have interviewed him like that. Where's the integrity in that? And at that point, did they try to get him a doctor? Did they take him to a hospital? What was going on there? There's an amount of, it wasn't like, oh, guess what? You know, here's the heroin needle and he passed out, you know, and he's dead. You know, there was a amount of time that he could have gotten medical attention and they should have stopped production. That's my argument on that. So anyway, we can go on about Max, and I've already done that. I don't want to go on that too much there. But again, he is connected to the Super Soldier program. And you do have, like, someone like Lauren Pritchard, who is, you know, believes that she is his twin flame and going off and stuff. So their legacy carries on, right? Okay, so I'm going to say goodbye for now. Thank you for watching my channel. And I do go back to college. I start college on Monday again for my next semester. I am hoping to at least live stream once a week. Even though I am in school, I'm hoping that it won't be too crazy to where I can't find a time to be on part of my channel. Holly Baglio, Casbolt is already engaged and is not. Oh, wow. Really? Casbolt is already engaged and is not to Lauren Pritchard. Okay. How do you know that? I'm just curious. You know, like, great broadcast. Oh, thank you. Okay. And I do have my podcast that I do on Anchor and Spotify. And I probably will do a quick little short video with a link to that. I did do the Carrot Top story because Stephen Cambion always brings it up sometimes when I'm on his channel. And I figured that I would just tell the story in its entirety on Spotify and Anchor. And by the way, it is explicit. So it's I did give it an explicit rating, but that's just audio. So, and I will do probably a short and put that in the link. Good day and good show. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, I'm gonna tweet it. I'll tweet it today. The link to it as well. Yeah, I'm Not My Rabbit Hole with Tere Joyce on Anchor, Spotify. I'm also on Apple Podcasts, Radio Public. I mean, there's a whole list of. I'm on 7 different platforms, but it's not like, again, the live streams I do here is a little bit different than there. So, but I do a show there too, How do women want to hear such an abuser? Baffling. You're talking about James Casbolt, I'm assuming, or is that Carrot Top? Carrot Top was just recently on Joe Rogan's show, or there was an uploaded video, so I thought that was kind of interesting. He's talking about his Gene Simmons story. It's kind of funny. Anyway, goodbye, you guys, and I'll see you next time.